Hello, welcome or welcome back. My name is Ari and today is my March TBR. So as you might have seen in the thumbnail or the title, I have come up with a TBR game. One of my favorite things to watch on YouTube is other people's TBR games, and I was feeling left out. So I created my own. I didn't have any direct inspiration based off of like taking somebody else's TBR game and making it my own. I kind of like created my own game just from the overall ideas of TBR games. My game is based off of Dungeons and Dragons, or more specifically a dungeon map and using a D20. There are a couple of other people that a quick YouTube search pulled up that do D20 based or Dungeons and Dragons inspired TBR games. Neither one of them are anything at all like my game. Both of those are like way more complicated than mine. Mine's fairly simple because I am a simple soul, but I will link those creators down in the description. This is what the game looks like. I don't know if you can see this or not because I'm not wearing my glasses and all I can see in the viewfinder is a big white square. So I'm gonna hope that you can see this. I will zoom in later in this video when we actually play the game. But before we get to the game, let's go over my like normal TBR kind of stuff, which is my Shannara reads, my Dritz reads, my Buzzwordathon book for the month, and my monthly theme. I am not getting rid of any of those things. I am just going to be adding the TBR game into that and hopefully fitting the books from the TBR game into my monthly theme. I will also still be reading all of the books that I get in book boxes. So let's start with Shannara, and the Shannara series that I am reading this month is actually a duology, and that is the Legends of Shannara duology, which starts with the Bears of the Black Staff and then continues with The Measure of the Magic. Now, these two books take place 500 years after the end of the last series. And they follow, I'm assuming by the covers of them, they follow Knights of the Word. They look like two different guys, but it just could be the art style. I don't know, but it at least follows one Knight of the Word. And I believe that this duology is going to tie the dystopian style of books that we had with the last two series into a more fantasy style that we're going to get with the original series. And I think this is where the Knights of the Word turn into druids, I want to say, but I'm not sure because I don't remember reading these. I may have read them, I may have not read them. I honestly have no memory of these, so we'll find out together. There will be an entire video dedicated to just these two that will be spoiler filled. For Dritz this month, we got a little bit of a weird one. So the next series in the Dritz universe, I don't really know how to name this, it's technically a series. It originally released as 3 separate books, but it's very hard to find it in that format anymore. And now it just comes as like one book called The Stone of Tamora. The series is called Stone of Tamora, but it was originally released in 3 parts. And I can prove that it was released in 3 parts without going to the internet because I have the first book, which is The Stowaway, and it says Stone of Tamora Volume 1, and I've done some research to make sure that this is the same thing, and it is. This is Volume 1, 2, and 3 of the Stone of Tamora series just put into one book, and it's not even separated into like 3 separate stories. It's just cover to cover one book. So I'm going to read this as one book. This format, it's nearly impossible to find anymore. You can't even find them used. They're like super, super rare. This is like the edition that I owned from when it originally came out. I don't know if I had the other two books and they got damaged when a lot of my books like got stuck in a flood, and I just have the first one, or if I only read the first one and never continued with the series. But this series is written by R.A. Salvatore and his son Gino Salvatore, and it is aimed towards more of a young audience. It is about a 12-year-old like street child in Baldur's Gate, and it's his story, but it fits into the Dritz universe because Dritz makes an appearance in this story. So this is kind of like a side quest. It's not the main Dritz story, but it is still part of Dritz's overall story. But it is not, Dritz is not the main character. It's not centered around him. So this is kind of like a side quest type of story, but I'm gonna read it anyway because it's short and easy to get through. If you are interested in picking this up, you can find this as an ebook fairly easily. I found it on Amazon as an ebook. Look for Stone of Tamora. You can get them as a separate trilogy on Amazon as well, where you get, I don't even remember the name of all of the books, but you can get all three books separately. If you buy them all separately, they're $9.99 each. If you buy it is one book, is just the Stone of Tamora, it's $7.99. So it's by far cheaper just to purchase all three books together and read it as one. But again, like the Shannara series, this will have its own video. Next, Buzzwordathon. Is the buzzword for this month is time, and I only have one book really on my TBR that has the word time in it, so it's going to be How to Lose the Time War, or This Is How You Lose the Time War. The cover is going to be here. I don't remember the author because I am not shockingly unprepared for this video, and I'm doing this all off the top of my head. But that is what I'm going to read for the Buzzwordathon. I'm going to stop saying that I'm going to read these at the first of the month because I never read these at the first of the month. I will just have it done at some point during the month. Next is the theme, and this is a theme that I've wanted to do for a while, and because my Shannara and Dritz books are so short this month, I think this is the month for it, and I'm going to read the alphabet. So I'm basically going to read one book that matches, like the first word of the book, the first letter of the first word of the book is going to be a letter of the alphabet, and I'm going to do my best to read them in order. So that starts with a minimum of 26 books, and then there's a potential to add some based off of the book boxes and the TBR game, though I think TBR game should be pretty easy to fit into an alphabet reading month. That means I read 6 books-ish a week. That should get me through the month. So hopefully I will do weekly reading vlogs on the alphabet, and so you guys can see how well I am or I am not keeping up on that. But let us get into the TBR game now, because I'm sure that's what you were here for. So for the TBR game, I'm going to be pulling 5 books a month to start off with, because I don't want this to like take over my channel, but I do want to add it in. So 5 books. There are opportunities to roll more books if I roll a double. So I'm going to use a d20 to do this. If I roll a double, like I roll a 12 and then I roll another 12, then I add another book. And then one of these prompts on here is to add a book. I am not going to sit here and explain all of this because it's a pretty straightforward game once you get into it. So I'm just going to play it, and I think everybody could pretty easily figure out exactly how to play it while I'm playing it. But if you have any questions about it or you're confused about something, feel free to drop it in the comments. So let's get to roll number 1. Let's just get started with our first D20 roll. So our first roll is a 16. I don't think the camera likes these dice at all. And I don't know if you can read that or not, because I can't tell on the viewfinder. You're just gonna have to trust me, it's a 16 if you can't read it. So for 16, that is either an ugly cover or a pretty cover, and we have to roll a second d20 to determine if I'm going to read an ugly or pretty cover. The first prompt, which is ugly cover, is a 1 through a 10. The second prompt, which is pretty cover, is an 11 through a 20. These either or only come on even number rolls. So we've got a second d20 that I'm going to roll, and that gave me 16. Now this is a double number, but that doesn't count as another roll. Those are different dice. I can roll as many of the same of those as I want to. All right, for roll number 1, I rolled a 16, which even numbers are all tiebreakers, and anything 1 through 10 is the first of the 2 prompts, and anything 11 through 20 is the second of the 2 prompts. So my second d20 roll was a 16, and that gave me a pretty cover. So for this one, I am going to read an arc that I have that I literally picked up because I like the cover. I don't know that I have any interest at all in the story because I think it's Batman. But the cover was so pretty, I needed the arc, and that is Litany of Dreams by Ari Marmel, I believe is how you pronounce that author's name. And this is part of the Arkham Horror series, and that's why I think it's Batman, because of the Arkham thing, and I think it's a DC brand. So that is what I am reading for pretty cover. I hope you agree that this is a pretty cover. So for this prompt, like pretty cover, ugly cover, it's entirely like my opinion on covers. So maybe you think this is an ugly cover, which is fine, but I think it's pretty, so I get to pick it for pretty cover. You guys are also welcome to play along with me. Either copy the board, it doesn't bother me at all if you want to copy it, or find your own books for the rules that I make. All right, and our room 16 way down here gets a lovely little unicorn sticker. These have absolutely no purpose at all other than to remind me what I've rolled. Because I have the memory of a goldfish. Moving on to the next roll, it's going to be I really hope you can see what this says. It says, fuck me. And fuck me on this particular dice is a natural 1. So for a natural 1, I have to read a book that I do not want to read. Next, I rolled a 1, or a fuck me, because that's just how we have to start. Like, we know that this game was going to be cursed just right off the bat, month 1, because winter TBR games, not a curse. So for this one, it is a book that I absolutely do not want to read, and I am not allowed to DNF the book. And so for this one, I figured I would get like really into this prompt. I might not get really into this prompt every month, but month 1, I'm going to start out strong. And I'm going to read 4 Seasons at Angelino's by Carolyn McBride. This is a book that I got in a book box, and not only is this a contemporary romance, this is the lowest rated book on my owned TBR. This might be the lowest rated book on my TBR, period. This has a 2.96 rating on Goodreads. Like, do you guys even understand how low of a rating that is? This book promises to be one of the most awful things I have ever read in my entire life. And not only because I hate contemporary romances, it's apparently just a really bad book. So, yay! I hate everything. Roll number 3 is a 14. I'm just gonna hope you can see these dice. And 14 is either fantasy or sci-fi, but because it's an even number, we need to bring in the second dice and determine which one I'm gonna read. And that is a 20. It's a natural, come on, focus, focus, focus. Really? Really? There we go. Roll number 3 was a 14, and then my second roll for that tiebreaker was a 20. So that gives me a sci-fi novel, and for this one I am going to read a Desolation Called Peace by Arkady Martine. I have this as an ARC and it comes out on March 2nd, so I need to read it. This is the second book in a sci-fi, like, political space, what are those called? A space opera. It's the second book in a space opera series called Texacalan, I believe is how you pronounce it. And I read the first book last year, liked it. This is 3 stars, even though I don't particularly care typically for space opera sci-fis. I still decided that I kind of wanted to read the second book because I like the characters a lot. I like the sapphic romance that went on in here, even if I could give 2 fucks about the politics of it. So I'm going to read this one. It's heavy sci-fi, so it definitely fits the prompt. And like I said, it comes out March 2nd. Roll number 4. That is an 18. That way. 18. And 18 is add a book or skip a book. This is like the worst prompt. So if I roll 1 to 10, then I have to roll a 6th time. If I roll 11 to 20, then I only have 4 total rolls in 4 books. So let's see. Let's see. And it's a 5. Come on. Why won't you focus? There we go. It's a 5. We're adding another book. Roll number 4. I rolled an 18. And then I rolled a 5. Which means I get to add another book to my TBR. So now I need to do 7 rolls instead of 5, and then out of those 7 rolls I am picking 6 books. Yay! And again, roll number 4, which is a 14. Which is add another book. So now we're up to 7 books instead of 5. Great. Let's see if this is a fantasy or a sci-fi. I don't know if you could actually, I did not show that to you, did I? It's a 14. And then this is, come on. Please focus. Please focus. Hello? There we go. It's a 3. So that is a fantasy. Roll number 5, a 14. Didn't I just do this? Are you fucking kidding me? So I rolled a 14 and then a 3, as you saw, and that means I'm reading a fantasy instead of a sci-fi this time. So for this one, I am going to read another book that's in a series that releases on March 2nd. And this is Chains? I don't know if it's Chain or Chains of Iron by Cassandra Clare. Yeah. So this is the second book in, I don't know, whatever trilogy this is, but it's one of her, wait, what are those called? Why is my brain not working? This is the second book. I think it's the Lost Hours trilogy. But if it's not the Lost Hours, then I'm just making up shit at this point. But it's one of her, what are they called? Not Demon Hunters. Is it the Demon Hunters series? Shadow Hunters. This is the second book in her newest Shadow Hunters series. I still don't know if it's the Lost Hours trilogy or if I'm just making that shit up. But this is another one of Cassandra Clare's Shadowhunter series. This is one of the ones that take place in Victorian England. They either take place in modern times or Victorian England, and the modern time ones are kind of trash, but I read them anyway, and I love the ones that take place in Victorian England. So this cover is beautiful. I loved the story last time. It's very like feel good. It's not like great literature. It's more of like teen drama gossip with demons. So I'm excited to read this. I don't know about you all, but let's move on to the next book. All right, 3 more books to go. This is roll 6, 3 books to go. And this is a 6. There we go. Beautiful. 6. 6 is a series or a standalone. So our black die to figure out which one. That is a 3. 3. Roll number 6. Book number 5. I rolled a 6. And then I rolled a 3. So this is either a series or a standalone. I got lower, so I'm reading a series. And for this one, I don't have to necessarily like read the next book in a series. It's just read a book that's part of a series. So I can start a new series if I wanted to, or I continue on with a series. For this one, I chose to continue on with a series. Basically only because this will fit my Q prompt and I don't have a lot of books that start with Q. So for this I'm going to read Queen of Shadows, which is the next book in the Throne of Glass series. And if you guys saw my reading vlog for the Throne of Glass series in January, I am very disenchanted with this series right now. I think everything's stupid and it's long. But it's a quick read. I mean, I read 4 of these in 24 hours, so it's a quick read. But yeah, I'm not expecting a whole lot out of this series, but I need something in a series for this TBR game, and I need something that begins with a Q for my monthly theme. So this fit the best. Is this a great idea? Probably not. Roll number 7, book number 6. That's another double. It's a 16 again. Fuck you, dice. Which is another ugly cover, pretty cover. So for this, it's another ugly cover. at a number 2. Ooh, there's a hair. Sorry about that. I shed a lot. Another double. So 8 books instead of 5 because the TBR game's cursed. It's like, oh, you've got a new TBR game? I hate you. I'm glad I'm already reading a lot of books this month because I would be so pissed otherwise. I'm still kind of pissed. Still a little bit pissed. But anyway, you don't care how pissed I am. You want to know what I'm reading. For this one, the last time we rolled high and got a pretty cover, so this time we're rolling low and getting an ugly cover. And I realized that I have this on my board and I don't think a lot of book covers are ugly, just in general. Or maybe I just don't buy books with ugly covers. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But I've realized that the only books that I have with ugly covers are mostly classics. So for this, I am going to read Jude the Obscure, which is a book by Thomas Hardy. A lot of people keep telling me that I'll really like Thomas Hardy's writing because he's depressing as fuck, and I like depressing classics. So I'm gonna read Jude the Obscure. This is what I'm generally finding is a cover for Jude the Obscure. The copy that I have is an anthology copy, and that's really fucking ugly too. So I think this counts for an ugly copy. I'm gonna make it count. It's my game. I can do whatever the hell I want. Anyway, let's not roll any more doubles and continue on. Roll number 8, book number 7. I got a fuck you on that one. I don't actually know if you can see any of these things. Anyway, it says fuck you. So as fuck me is a natural 1, fuck you is a natural 20, which means I can read whatever the fuck I want to. Roll number 8. At least it's not a double, and it's a natural 20 or a fuck you. And for this one, it means I can pick whatever book that I want. It doesn't have to fit with any theme, just something that I want to read. And for this one, I am going to read another book that releases on March 2nd because literally every book that I want to read this year apparently releases on March 2nd. And this is KLARA and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. Ishiguro is one of my favorite writers of all time, and I will happily consume anything that the man writes. So this is his newest book. It's sci-fi. I have no idea what it's about. I could give a shit less what it's about. I just read it because of the author, and this is a 5-star prediction, and I want it more than anything right now. So that's what I want to read, so I'm gonna read it. 15. 15 is a random letter generator. So I'm screen recording this, so you'll see double of this, one without the ring on it, but this is an app that's a random generator, and this is the particular letter section of the random letter generator. So I'm just gonna hit the pick button down here. X. Are you fucking kidding me? X. How much does this game hate me? Roll number 9. Book number 8. Thank God this is it. I might have killed somebody. Just saying. This is a random letter generator. And as you saw, are you fucking kidding me? A random letter generator is going to give me an X. Are you kidding? Like, the only good takeaway is I was already planning to do the alphabet, because if I got an X on any other month, I would be screaming out of just like sheer anger. So for this one, I am going to use the literal only book on my TBR that begins with an X. And it's not even a full-length novel, it's a short story. And that is Zingu, I guess is how you pronounce it, by Edith Wharton. Edith Wharton is my current like favorite classic author. So at least I'm getting 2 classics off of my I need to read 6 classics this year list done this month. The small things, I guess. But yeah, this is a short story by Edith Wharton. You can buy it as its own book, so I'm going to count it as a full book because it shows as a book on Goodreads. Are you gonna fight me about it? I didn't think so. I can read what I want. I do have this in an anthology, but whatever. I'm just gonna read the short story. I got nothing. But that is my TBR game. And it's cursed. That's it. It's cursed. I am cursed. The TBR game's cursed. Everything hates me. At least I read a lot already. In the end, 8 books is no big deal. I do read, I'm going to read at least 26 books this month. So I could live with 8 books. I'm not going to like die from reading 8 books. I can still be mad that this board cursed me. It cursed me. But let me know what you think of my TBR and or my TBR game down in the comments. If you guys have any suggestions on different things that I can do or change or anything, let me know down there. Punishments. I don't really have any punishments for not completing this TBR because I can't think of a world where I'm not going to complete this TBR. But if you guys have any idea for punishments, feel free to leave this in the comments. Book buying bans is not a reasonable punishment for me, so that one's out, but I'm fair game for anybody else. But yeah, I will see you in the next video.